Hello, Team Genesis Associates and valued guests. Tonight, I have a very special guest and presentation lined up for you. I'll be introducing you to my husband, Chip Meyer. Chip will share some best practices he's learned during his time in corporate America, where he was trained by some of the top sales leaders in the world. Through my experience, I found that much of what works in the corporate world works in our world too. That's because there are some universal truths about people and commerce that are consistent across industries and even country lines. To give you a little history on Chip and me, I met Chip 9 years ago through a mutual friend. And 1 year into our dating relationship, I decided to wind down a very rewarding and lucrative 23-year career in network marketing. Chip helped me put together my very first resume ever, prepared me to effectively interview, and helped me land a good job in conventional business in no time. I quickly learned I could transfer many of my network marketing skills and strategies into my new corporate environment and again, beat out my competition. And although I was successful in conventional business, I sure didn't like having a boss, adhering to a dress code, and working a fixed schedule with a fixed income. It wasn't even close to living my best life on my terms, as I've shared with you in many of these meetings. When I discovered CBD oil and started taking that for some pain and inflammation I was suffering with, I was amazed at the results I got almost immediately. I started telling everyone about how CBD not only helped me with my pain, but also with the other benefits I discovered as well. I was sleeping better, feeling better, my skin cleared up, and I was able to focus and think more clearly. So when one of my old contacts from a prior network marketing program, Michael Swilling, invited me to look at a network marketing program that offered CBD, I jumped at the chance because I was already telling everyone how much CBD had helped me, and I thought I could help people get a better product and make money in a side business working around my full-time job. Fast forward to today, this CBD program took off so fast that it was taking up all my free time on nights and weekends and paying me substantially more than my full-time job. So I talked things over with Chip, and we decided that I'd be crazy not to focus on this full-time. So I quit my regular job as a director of marketing at a naturopathic clinic and began focusing all my efforts on helping everyone discover the benefits of CBD and the opportunity to make money at CTFO. Truth be told, this is the easiest thing I've ever done in my network marketing career. But I have an advantage now that I didn't have before. That's the guy sitting next to me, my wise and supportive husband who shares his experience and helps coach me on how to be successful here in lots of areas. Chip studied business at Arizona State University, where he graduated with honors with a degree in business management. He's been a top performer at some large industry-leading companies and is now running a small family business started 30 years ago by his father, who's an icon in the music industry. Week after week and month after month, Chip has been coaching me on how to be a better speaker, writer, marketer, recruiter, and manager. You must know it because I'm practicing right under all of your noses, and I'm just getting started. I will not be anything less than my best here. So I'm constantly asking for help and guidance to learn from him and other people who can help me become a better professional. If you also have an intense desire to have time and financial freedom, and you want to fully embrace this amazing opportunity we have with CTFO, then you'll love what's coming next. I've invited my husband Chip to be my special guest here tonight. And in the interest of helping all of you take your business to the next level, we're going to be totally transparent with you so you can see what obstacles we had to overcome to help me create the people-serving, money-making model I'm enjoying here today, largely to Chip's credit. So let's get started. Chip, I'm excited to have you on here tonight with me. Thank you for being with us.
Well, thanks, honey. No, it's a pleasure to be here, and I wish I could be in the other room sitting right next to you, but something about the audio, it just wasn't picking up and working very well, so we have to be in separate screens here. But yeah. I'm glad you invited me. Thanks.
Well, let's start out, Chip, and let's start out by discussing a big challenge for us that we still have today. And I think is probably a challenge that a lot of network marketers and busy professional people in general have, and that's work-life balance.
Oh yeah, I mean, work-life balance, that's something everybody struggles with. I mean, there's only so much time in a week, and especially for network marketers, because a lot of people get started in that, as you did, working at around a full-time job as, you know, an extra for some supplemental income or to see how it goes. And so when you got started in this one, I mean, it took off so fast that you were spending a lot of your nights and weekends on phone calls and in front of your computer and returning emails and, you know, running out and meeting with people on weekends and things. So I thought, you know, if I'm going to be able to spend any time at all with Janet, I'm going to have to help her become a little bit more effective and do more with less. And you remember that that image I pulled up for you about priorities and focusing on, you know, what's important?
Totally do. I saved it with some of my my most valuable little pieces of wisdom that you shared.
Well, I'll show it to your team. I had come across this in business training, you know, years ago, and I'll hold it up so you can see the image there. There's
Perfect. Oh, that's great, Chip.
yeah, there's the, you know, the things that matter, and then there's the things that are in your control. And where that overlaps, that's where you should focus your time and energy. I mean, if something's out of your control and you can't influence it anyway, you know, don't waste your time on it. If it's not that important and it doesn't matter, let that one go too, so you can stay focused on your key priorities. And I know you always remembered that, and found that really helpful to help keep you focused on, you know, the things that matter and how to be effective.
Yeah, so important, Chip. And also, how about the to-do list that you really helped me adopt as part of my daily discipline?
Yeah, bless your heart. You were working so hard, and you had, you know, Post-it notes all over the place with things to do, and you were just trying to keep up with it all. And so, you know, everybody's heard about to-do lists and calendars, but not everybody uses them. So, you know, we talked about that and using your to-do list and your calendars, and, you know, they're right in your phone. So you adopted that and became hugely more effective. You were scheduling your priorities. You were looking out at your week and what you had to accomplish, and seeing where your free times were, where you could schedule appointments with people. And you had your list of important priorities to focus on and your to-do list every day. And you start with the most important one, like we talked about, and then go on to the next one. And if something came up, that enabled you to then get back to it and focus on accomplishing what you needed to do that day. So I know both of those things, a calendar and a to-do list, were hugely instrumental to help you get more done in less time.
You know, something else, Chip, that was really valuable to me was you teaching me how to handle interruptions that come throughout the day, every day, and to be able to assess them as either being urgent or important. So will you speak to that for a minute, please?
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, you know, everybody's got a lot coming at you all day, especially in, you know, this age of communications. You got Facebook Messenger, messages popping in, texts, emails, your phone's ringing. There's a lot of people trying to get a hold of you. And so you need to, you know, determine, well, hey, you know, what's my priority again? What am I focused on? And then determine whether an interruption is urgent and also important. Is that something I can get to later? If it is urgent and it is important, okay, let me take a pause from what I'm working on right now, take care of that, either schedule it to do at a later time on my calendar or take care of it right now, and then get back to what you're doing and continue working down your to-do list. So yeah, interruptions that come in and handling the urgent versus the important, it was also something you found very helpful.
Right, and it's helped me accomplish so much more in the course of the day by being able to make that call. You were an employee, Chip, for many years at a Fortune Top 50 Most Admired company, and now you're running a small business as a small business owner with the benefits and headaches that come right along with that. So based on all of that experience that you have, how do you evaluate the CTFO business opportunity? Tell us your thoughts on it.
Yeah, you're right. I've worked for big Fortune 500 companies, and now I'm running a small business. And what I see and what I've learned about your CTFO opportunity is you really get the best of both worlds. You get all the benefits of a big company with all their resources to put together products for you and handle all of the things that are involved in running a big company. But you get all the freedom and benefits of being a small business owner and an entrepreneur. You get the flexibility, to work where you want and when you want, and you don't have the structure of a corporate environment. So your CTFO opportunity is really, really the best of both worlds. And, it's really no different too, working for a big company or a small business, you're doing the same thing. You're providing products or services that other people need and want. And if you do that well, you make a profit. The only difference is in a small business, there's not as many zeros after the numbers. But the process is the same, and they actually both keep score the same way. They measure what they're doing in dollars. And in business, small business, big business, whether you're Amazon or Microsoft or whether you're a small CTFO associate, the scoreboard is the same. It's your income statement. It's how many dollars did you bring in for providing the service or the product that you provide. All businesses keep score this way. You may have heard it called a P&L or profit and loss statement, but the income statement is basically an accounting of how many dollars did we bring in for selling the product or service that we're providing. Then you've got a cost to do that. I mean, there's the costs of making the product and everything that goes into that. For our business, we make piano parts at factories in Germany. So there's materials, there's labor, there's overhead. There's a lot of costs that go into that. Then when you take away your costs from your revenue, you've got your gross profit margin left over. And you got to hope there's a lot there, because then you got to cover all your expenses, your utilities, your salaries, your overhead, your advertising, in your business, and so on and so forth. In your business, the only part of that you need to focus on is the very top line, the revenue. And that's where it starts with every business. I mean, if you can't provide a product that people want and need, and you can't connect your product to the people who want and need it, you don't have a business. And that applies to everybody. So the great news about your company is you only have to focus on one thing, the top line.
Oh, good. That I can focus on one thing, Jeff.
Yeah.
But all those are great points. And I'm sure grateful that I don't have to grow hemp plants and harvest this CBD oil and manufacture it into products with bottles and labels and get it all to market and house inventory, etc. All I have to do is sell it. That's the one thing that you've shared with me that I need to focus on. And that's an area where you've been super successful, and you've helped me be immensely successful as well. So why don't you share some of the sales training that you've shared with me, Chip, with our audience tonight?
Yeah, sure. I've heard you talk to folks, and a lot of people have a negative view of what they think sales is and what that's about. Sales is really just persuasion. It's just the communication that takes place when you want to convince somebody of your point of view. It's what leaders do. If you can convince other people to follow you and go where you want to go, that's what leaders do. And I mean, coaches, sports coaches have to do that. Spouses do that. They have to convince one another of, if I want Italian food and you want Mexican food, and we're debating where to go eat, I'm either going to sell you on my restaurant, or you're going to sell me on yours. We're going to wind up with one or the other. So this is a skill that will help you and be effective everywhere, whether you're leading a country, whether you're leading a large corporation or a small business. It doesn't matter if you're selling a $47.47 bottle of CBD oil or negotiating a $25 million contract. I've done both, and the process is the same. If you break down that process and analyze it, you can really see that there's 4 steps involved. You've got the introduction. Then you have to do some fact finding and find out, what are the needs of my prospect here. What's important to them? What are their hot buttons? What do they appeal to? And once you understand what they need and how you might be able to help them, then it's time to do your presentation where you share all the features and the benefits about what you have to offer. And you guys have a great product line with a lot of things that you can offer. And so you share the presentation, you go through that and connect what you have to what they need, and then close the deal. And that's the part a lot of people miss is they leave it hanging. They tell them all about their great products, but they don't, close the deal and get the commitment to move ahead.
So you helped me understand that years ago, Chip, and I left aside that habit that I had of just winging it and being in the moment. And what you've shared with me has been enormously helpful to me. So I'd love it if you would go into a little bit more detail for our viewers tonight and help them learn how to effectively persuade others so that they can achieve their sales goals as well.
Yeah, sure. It's a universal process. It works for all types of persuasion. I mean, just think about an attorney. Do they just get in front of the courtroom and make a case and start telling the jury how wonderful their client is and how there's no way they could have committed the crime they're accused of? No, there's a process there. They first meet, and then they get all the facts and present once they have all the facts, then they present their arguments in their case and ask for the commitment or close the deal. If it doesn't fit, you must acquit. From the OJ trial, but they're looking to convince the jury and close the deal and get the verdict that they want. So let's go through that step by step and kind of demonstrate how that applies to your business. So, the introduction. You meet a lot of different people. You talk to people in all walks of life, and Janet, you're phenomenal at this. I mean, you can strike up a conversation and introduce yourself to anybody. I mean, we could be standing in line at the grocery store, and you'll see a mom with some kids running around, and you'll strike up a conversation. Oh, aren't kids a handful? Oh yeah, they sure are. Yeah, I know. I'm a mom. I've got a few of my own, and I remember when they were that age, and now I've got grandkids. Oh, really? And then the next thing you know, you're already establishing rapport and relating to one another and building up some trust and finding some things in common, which then often leads to the next step where you start to do some fact finding and you get to know somebody and you ask them some questions. I just had a customer I was talking to the other day. I just asked him, how's it going? And we just get to talking, hadn't talked to him in a while, and he tells me what's new with him and starts sharing with me about how he's having a little rough time. He's got some pain from an injury that he suffered with his neck, and he can't sleep at night, and things are so he's just teeing me up to start telling him about CBD. So once he starts talking about all that, I say, well, you know what? If you've got pain and inflammation, in the fact-finding process of me asking some follow-up questions on that, he told me everything I need to know. So then it's a matter of, well, hey, we've got this business selling CBD, and it's really been helpful for my wife. And now I start going into the presentation and sharing some of the benefits with him, what it's done for you, what I've heard it do for other people. And then I'm giving him the website. Oh, how do I order that? I mean, he's just ready to go. So I, share with him the website and say, here's where you go. And for you, the pain cream and the oil, you just drop it every time and close the deal right there. He's going to the website. And then I mentioned, and there's a money-making opportunity associated with this as well. So I can follow up with that later. But that's just a quick demonstration of the process. Introduction, fact-finding, then you give your presentation, and then you close the deal. You got to follow that order. And when you see professional people persuading others, they do that. They know what the situation is before they start telling everybody. A lot of mistakes that new people make in sales, and this is what turns a lot of people off about sales, they just have a product and they're all excited about it and they just want to tell you everything they know about it and they think you're going to be just as excited as they are. But that's not really solution-based selling. And what you have to do in professional sales, and if you want to be persuasive, is find out what that person needs. Find out what's important to them. Are they concerned about pain and inflammation, or do they have a pet that's getting old that they're struggling with and they've tried a few things? So once you do your fact finding, it's really important, and you know this, then you go into your presentation and try to close the deal.
I love how you made that point, Chip, not to deviate from that four-step process. Really, there are no shortcuts for this. This was designed and used by some of the top salespeople in the world because it works, right?
I used that to close my first $1 million deal many years ago, and I followed that exact same process with a $25 million deal I closed just a couple years ago with another big national company. So yeah, it's exactly what's trained by the top training companies. You know, Accenture, when you go through some of the training they offer, Miller Hyman, McKinsey, when you look at the process that they teach people on how to be persuasive, you know, it starts with, hey, we're people, so we gotta have an introduction and adjust to each other's personality, build some rapport, establish some trust. Then we start to learn a little bit about them, do some fact finding before we get into presenting what we have to offer and trying to close the deal.
What about objections, Chip? What about when objections come up anywhere in that process? How do you handle those?
Yeah, that's a great question. A lot of people are afraid of objections. Well, what if they say this, or what if they say that? Objections are actually buying signals. When somebody's asking questions or presenting an argument, oh, well, I can't have that. That doesn't apply to me because of this. What they're sharing with you is an opportunity for you to find out what that is and share more information to see if that's a true objection or what, if you can overcome it. I know a common one that you get a lot is people saying, oh, you know, they hear about hemp oil or CBD and they have the misperception, oh, well, no, I don't want a medical marijuana card. I don't want to get high, or my company drug tests or something like that. So that's a great opportunity that shows that they're interested in the product, but they have this concern about it. Now, if you can overcome that concern and overcome that objection, they may be very interested. So you ask them. You first listen and acknowledge, oh, hey, so you're concerned about, you know, the possibility of getting high. You don't want to do that. You've got a job that wouldn't allow you to do that anyway. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. So this wouldn't, okay, yeah, hey, I get it. I don't want to, you know, get stoned and laugh on a couch and eat brownies and, you know, giggle like an idiot. I don't want to do that either. And what if I told you that we have products that don't have THC, that wouldn't get you high and register on a drug test, but would give you all the benefits that you're looking for in an all-natural product? Would you be interested in hearing about that? Oh, well, yeah, I would. I didn't know you had that. And then so then you respond, and then you start sharing with them about your isolate and your product, and you give them the information they need, and then you keep going through the process and move toward closing the deal.
Well, a framework for the sales process is critical, no doubt, but what else makes a big difference is how you say what you say. Am I correct?
100%, 1,000% right on that. Two people can give the exact same process and say the exact same thing and get completely different results. So how you say it is even more important than what you say. Now, what you say is important. You have to follow that framework. You have to have a good structure. You have to know a little bit about what you're talking about. You have to be able to ask some questions and then share the benefits that are important to that person. But how you say it, that's really what makes you an effective communicator and makes you persuasive. If your attitude, confidence, enthusiasm, energy, those kind of things, eye contact, the rate at which you speak, if you're stumbling over your words, or you're, let me tell you about these CBD products that we have, versus, oh, let me tell you about these CBD products we have. And you look them in the eye, how you say it is just as even more important than what you say. So it starts with a good framework, following that process, but then you got to be able to say it with confidence and enthusiasm. And Janet, you're a natural at that. I mean, when you say something and you're excited about something, you believe in it, I mean, almost nobody can say no to you.
Are you flirting with me, Chip?
You already closed this deal, honey.
I had to marry you to recruit you. Relationships are everything in this industry, Chip. We say it all the time, and communication is so important in all our relationships. So before we close out our time together tonight, let's talk about communication styles and what we can learn about a person, whether it's a prospect or a team member, by simply paying attention to how they're communicating.
Yeah, that's another great point, and I know you found that really helpful, and I've coached you on that in the past, and you've applied that successfully as well. So it's no secret, everybody's different, and people communicate differently. And there's been a lot of research done on this, and it has to do with personality profiles and also how people think. But for the simplicity of understanding the different communication styles and how different people communicate, the point I want to make on that is you want to communicate with your prospect or your really everybody in their preferred communication style. So everybody probably knows those types of people who are very action oriented. They just want to, get things done. These are the kind of people that would say something like, "Hey, I just asked you what time it is. Don't build me a watch." And so there are people like that. So when you recognize that you've got a direct, to the point, bottom line communicator like that, you want to communicate with them the same way. You don't have to tell them all the history about CBD and all the different things. Just find out what their issue is and get right to the point on how you might be able to help them. There are other types of people who are very logical and very detail oriented. I mean, they need to understand, hey, take me through this from the beginning, the middle, the end. I need to understand how this works and that works. They'll have a lot of questions and they'll really want all the details on something. Well, when you recognize you've got somebody like that you're communicating with, you want to communicate that way back to them. Don't just get right to the point with those folks. You're going to lose them. Walk them through the process, take it in a logical step-by-step order. Other types of people are very concerned with their emotions and how they feel. And there's a lot of people like that. And these are the kind of people that, they don't care how much you know unless they know how much you care. So with folks like that who are very in tune with their feelings, you've got to appeal to that. And you want to talk about, the feeling part of it. And your owners do a great job of that on their calls. They're really in touch with, they're excited and enthusiastic, and they talk about how heart connected they are to this, and relationships are so important to them. So, when you identify you've got somebody like that, you want to pay attention to that and communicate the same way. There's another type, there's really four types of people that we've described, 3 of them already. The other one is more rare. You don't meet a lot of these people, but they're the idea people, kind of the, almost the absent-minded professor. These are the folks that have big visions, and they see the big picture, and they kind of dwell in the, not the practical day-to-day, but more of the what's possible. They're conceptual people. So when you start talking about this, their mind's going to start going to, wow, where could this all apply? And they've got, a lot of thoughts on that and imagination. And so when you deal with somebody like that, it's kind of a challenge sometimes to keep them focused on the task at hand. But recognizing their communication style and then communicating with them in a way that, in messaging that they're going to want to hear, is a very effective communication strategy that everybody should, try to recognize who you're talking to and then communicate with them in the way that they want to be communicated with. And they'll tell you that, they'll show you that by the way they communicate with you.
All great stuff, honey. I thank you so much. I've loved this opportunity to share you with my team and their guests tonight. And I learn from you every day, so I wanted to let my team hear from you as well about some of the coaching you've done for me, which may help many of them too. And we covered a lot tonight. We talked about work-life balance, time management, and prioritization, understanding how businesses make money and how the entrepreneurial opportunity at CTFO offers the best of both worlds, how to focus on the top line revenue for the bottom line, the sales process and how to use that to persuade people, different communication styles and how to read people and talk with them in their preferred style. And it was a lot of valuable information.
Yeah, I mean that. Yeah, I mean that all that we did cover a lot. To hear you go back through it, that was a lot of information, and I hope it's helpful for your team. It does. It applies to Fortune 500 companies or small businesses or network marketing. I mean, in all cases, it's really just people dealing with people for the purpose of creating profitable win-win relationships. So, I mean, I know we're out of time. That's really all we have time for tonight, but I hope everybody enjoyed what we shared tonight. And Janet and I both hope that you'll join us at the Success Saturday event that's planned in March. We hope you'll get your tickets to that for some more great training that can really help you win in business. And we'll both be there. I'd love to meet more of her team in person as well. So everybody, good night and God bless you. That's all for tonight.
Good night for now.